What's going on, fam? This is KR Jones of the Off the Strength podcast, and I am here to tell you to like, listen, subscribe, and if you're feeling freaky, visit offthestrength.com. That's where you can go and get more information on us. That's where we can link, we can build, we can connect, and let's make this thing work.
This new batch and new crop of 40-year-olds, we got a whole different setup for what people yesteryear 40 used to have to go through, fam.
That's a fact.
I feel like you used to be getting ready to send kids off to college and shit, and 40 used to have all these adult-ass decisions.
Yep.
Today, it does not look like that.
You know, I had to put the house up.
Yo, that ass. It's like,
mortgage, we had to refinance.
I'm still trying to pay off student loans and shit.
Get a little Jimmy in college for some semesters. Yeah.
That's some wild shit, bro. I feel like all of that stuff is just like piling on and is really starting to make this middle age feel like a whole different type of thing going on right now, man. And coming off of the week that I just had, bro, where everybody just be putting all this pressure on you to make these adult-ass decisions, some people are losing their fucking mind. It's really breaking them down, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you got vote attack. Like, I got vote attack last week.
Ooh.
But everybody was early voting frenzied, stickered out, and tried to get everybody to just, like, participate in their special activity that day. And I was losing my damn mind, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sick of all the celebrities telling you to vote. It's not like none of them shits don't age the right way all the time. You remember the motherfucker that was telling you to go rock the vote and vote or die? Where's he at right now? Like, let that line you up the way it needs to line you up. And ironically, Kyle, the things that I actually do want to vote for, I don't really have a voice in most of the time, bro. I really do feel like we should have the ability to vote on more things than we actually should, bro.
That's a lot that you just laid out there, brother.
I want to be able to vote on whether or not people should be able to have pets and kids. I want to be able to vote on the algorithm in general. I want to vote on music in public spaces.
I should have known this was going to take a hard left.
What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome back. Yet another episode of Off the Strain. We're giving you the inside look into all things wellness culture. I'm a trainer called Tony, and of course with me I have a gentleman of extraordinary league.
KR Jones is in the building.
That's right, folks. We are back. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you are now in store for a treat because it's the return of the variety show. That's when we give you our best foot forward. So hopefully you take your best foot forward. You do that two-step, that tango, whatever it is you need to do to make it on through the week with the best goddamn wellness information available.
Yeah, yay!
Kyle, I also want to be able to vote on people's fashion choices, but that is neither here nor there, sir.
Oof.
How are you doing today?
Man, all of these topics seem very triggering when you say them out loud, and I don't want to be the person to vote on such topics as
you know it's a real
alluded to.
situation. You would not vote for everybody that you know with a kid to have that kid.
Yeah.
You know that you would not vote
we
for
don't
everybody.
gotta go back down the list. We heard it the first time. Go back and rewind it if you didn't. So you asked me about my week, Tone.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna slide into how my week was and leave your voting list where it is.
This is stuff that I want to vote for.
I vote against that. Now, what I'm voting against is, man, my week can be summed up in this playlist that I have, right? So, you know, I teach my elevated yoga class, and today's playlist was called Pronoia. Pronoia being the opposite of paranoia, right?
Okay.
Now, pronoia is the belief that the world is actually conspiring to do good for you and to you.
I like that.
As opposed to paranoia, where you just think everybody out to get you.
You was going the opposite of where Tyler took the culture this week, man.
Now, it's funny you should say that because obviously I would have to put Noid on that playlist.
Ah.
You know what I mean? So the music is actually quite paranoid music and not pronoia. See what I did there?
So you lured him in, a little bait and switch.
I lured him in. Bait and switch.
He made people feel nervous in class, is what you're saying?
No, I didn't make people feel nervous, man. But what did end up happening was I feel like, you know, I'm heavy in this juxtaposition, if you will, or that dichotomy of two things existing and coexisting at once. And it really just feels very representative of life to me. And I had that chance to check out the Andrew Huberman and the podcast that he was on that I was telling you about. And he is a neuroscientist.
Yeah.
And he was just talking about the balance of something like a body still and a mind active, or like safety and acceptance, right? Like two different things that have to coexist in order for you to move forward. So I feel like that paranoia, pronoia, that little, you know, evil yin and the yang, the good and the bad situation, that was the week. It was like really just seeing the balance of everything and just kind of floating the line in between.
As you floated on, my friend, through the details of your week, I was trying to reminisce.
My name is Larry.
Reminisce
I'm
on
a
mine.
Capricorn, and I like a lady that loves everything and everybody.
How my week actually played out was, I would say, putting in work, Kyle.
Okay.
I think that's the theme from the week that I had. Really running as strong of a ground game as I possibly can to make any type of progress along the way that I feel. You know that incremental progress is not going to always be the most rewarding thing in the instant, but progress nonetheless was something that I have to champion. So I did see that moving. And as I was moving, I got a chance to see some people that was also making their own incremental processes. So had to shout them out as I see them and came across, man. Got to shout out to brother Dennis Pierre, always crossing his path. One of the guys that I started this whole podcast journey with and the fitness journey, seeing where he's at. Happy to see how he's moving.
Shout him out. I seen the merch, seen the socks.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Seen
saying?
the hats. He's out here on the move.
He's been somebody.
Brooklyn Fitness, son.
But Brooklyn Fitness
Stand up.
own Dennis Pierre has been somebody who's been in the product game for a lot longer than people will give him credit for. So I always got to salute that, man.
I seen it.
Hell yeah, bro. I got to salute another tandem that's really adjacent to where Dennis is. I got to shout out Al and Lou from Bodega, seeing their hard work come together in a physical location, actually about to open up hopefully by December. Walking through the space was something that was really like, okay, this is a good feeling. Right in Prospect Park, an area where I once owned a brick and mortar business. It felt good to see that energy returning back in a neighborhood with people that I know are also from that neighborhood, man. I also got a chance to tap in with Purcell and the Fit For Us crew over at Dumbo House. I got a chance to see what they were putting on in celebration leading up to this weekend, very own marathon weekend with We Run This. I'll talk a little bit more about that in detail later on. But Kyle, when I go back and I really think about that whole theme of putting in work, I talk to all of these people that are doing various levels of work and various levels of success. And in seeing them, even the high performers show up and be able to put on a pretty damn good show every single time, I can feel that there's an underlying level of tension and pressure all throughout that. And I want to bring that into this week's Ask the Professional, my brother.
Okay.
So let me lay it on you, man. So in this week's ATP, today's high-pressure world, with the political tensions that we're facing, with the tough job market, with all the extra pressures that society might put on you for where they think you should be at in life, it's no wonder why so many people are feeling more stressed than ever before. So, Kyle, I need to know, what are some practical steps that we can suggest to the good listeners out there to help keep them grounded and manage stress effectively in these unprecedented times?
Man, I appreciate you for that question and really addressing the hard-hitting stuff, the real emotions that people go through and the experiences that we have to deal with stress was something that you can't see, which makes it even more deadly. And the only way that I combat that is really exercising the mind, body, and spirit, Tony. Like, I don't want it to sound cliche. I'm not trying to sell you, love potion number 9 and get you to go into my cult next week. But I am trying to tell you that you need to expand your mind, right? Whether that's an audiobook, whether that's a book of some sort, but you need to see another perspective outside of your own. That's imperative to moving forward. When you move your body, you have to have some type of movement practice. I'm not telling you to go run a marathon. I'm not telling you to go be Arnold Schwarzenegger in the gym. I'm not telling you to even be vegan, but I am telling you to consciously do something to improve the health of your body however you see fit. And the last part is just going to be the spirit, man. What is it that you believe in? What is it that you're chasing? What is lighting that flame inside of you to wake you up to go after something? That is the only way you're going to combat stress, because you're going to be so focused on making yourself better that you won't have time to be stressed.
I totally agree, my brother. And you hit a lot of the priorities that I wanted to talk about. I only have but 2 more that I want to add, if you don't mind.
Go ahead and put them on the list, brother.
I want you to set boundaries with the information that you take in. And I can't help but stress this, as one of the primary stressors in most people's lives is you taking in information that you do not need. Go back to our earlier conversation.
Yep.
Why I cut things off the way I cut things off.
For sure.
Hey, this could be a great piece of information that I just don't need.
Yep.
So I'm not carrying any of this extra shit with me at any point in time. And I vehemently defend that in every single aspect.
I can witness, because there's some things that I'll ask you that you don't even have any type of memory of. I'm like, yo, fam, we just met this person yesterday. You like,
was this person at all? I'm not gonna say it.
Exactly. See, and that It's the off and off the strength.
The next thing I want to talk about is cultivating social connections, Kyle.
Okay.
Because that is also an important thing to help you de-stress in these unprecedented times. If you don't have a good relationship with a social network of people that can actually be supportive, and I'm talking about in real life, not online, you're not going to be able to deal with these pressures in the way that is really a byproduct of how you are built as a human. You know, you can find social networks that can be supportive in digital settings, but I feel like you need this in real life connection to really be able to kind of set you straight from time to time, man. I feel a lot of people just get lost in the sauce because you're taking in, again, so much of this comparison culture, so many of these different like mental traps that'll keep you locked in believing one world is the only world that you ever seen and ever know, bro. So I take it all the way back to the top again. I want to be able to vote on the algorithms, Kyle.
All right. Yeah. I mean, let's vote on algorithms for sure. Whether you can have a child or a pet, I'm not voting on that.
I'm voting on this, too.
No.
You know who you are. There's people out there that I'm speaking directly to. Now, speaking of speaking directly to people, Kyle, we have just laid out some information that might be on the pedestrian level. I want to take it a step further.
Okay.
Do you have any tips for wellness professionals specifically, one or two that you want to throw out to talk about how we need to deal with these stressful times? Because often, these are the people who are going to be running around, tank is fully on empty, and trying to pour into other people's cups.
First thing comes to mind is pay yourself first. That's the lesson you taught me years ago. When you're a wellness professional, you're selling your time, you're selling your energy, you're selling your spirit to people. You need to have that before you give it to someone else.
Absolutely.
So if that means waking up earlier, or if that means, you know, shutting the business down a little earlier at night to have some you time, whenever that time needs to be, figure that out so that you can pay yourself first before you give it to other people. Secondly, would just be identify when you reach burnout. Say it out loud, write it down, throw up a red flag if you actually physically need to throw a flag up, but identify that and then start to fill your cup.
Yeah, it is imperative for any of your goals, if you are considering yourself to be a wellness provider, to take care of your own wellness. Now, hopefully, everybody out there can mitigate whatever stresses that are coming up in these upcoming weeks, Kyle, with some of this good information. And after we give you out some good information, you know how we got to move into the show. We got to get into some little bit more good.
Okay.
We got to get into some bad. And we got to talk about some of these questionable, maybe even ugly headlines this week. That's right, Kyle. It is time for this week's episode of Ripped from the Headlines. Now, first things up, Kyle. I'm really curious about how this headline hits home to you because it's something that's a little bit complex. Now, you're going to have to decide whether this is good or bad, but the CDC has reported a small decline in the U.S. obesity rates for the first time in over a decade. Now, the CDC admits that this is only a modest decline and that there is still up to 40.3% of the population are still obese in the U.S. That's 40% of the adults specifically, and that's in a range of time that we're measuring from 2021 into 2023. Now, it is a bit curious to see how we got to this decline in the first place, but when you hear about this, Kyle, what are your initial thoughts?
I mean, I'm happy and sad at the same time.
Why?
Is this good, bad?
This is what I'm saying.
I'm trying to figure out where I need to fall on
Let's
this.
unpack this a little bit more.
Okay.
What happened during this time frame when we first started to see this weight decrease?
The world ended? Is that what we talking
The world
about?
did end, but that actually made the weight go up initially, if you really want to go back and track these stats.
Okay.
You know what really did happen in that
I
same
don't
time
know. Why
frame?
don't you let the folks know, Tony?
Are you familiar with a drug called Mounjaro?
Oh.
Are you familiar with any of the class of drugs that are now very popularized across?
Ozempic.
Exactly. So now this just happens to correlate. This is not in the article directly, but this happens to be a very coincidental happening on the statistics that I'm seeing coming up over here. So I don't know how to feel about this, but I can tell you that there is a price for a drug that is going up at the same time that this weight is going down. You be the judge of where that needs to go, Kyle. Next up.
Okay.
I've been saying for a little bit that these fitness parties and festivals were going to be taking on a whole new form.
Yep.
And Kyle, this week, I saw that Les Mills partnered with Adidas for reimagining workouts in a way that I've never seen before. They rolled out a fitness rave. Now, those two words coming together, what's your initial thoughts of what this place actually looks like?
my initial thoughts, I can't even articulate right now because it took me to a nasty place.
See?
But
you think about them parties back in the day.
Yeah, it really did spark a memory, if you will. I've grown from that space, Tony. But I do think about the idea of like sleepaway camp or like the places that would activate overnight. I remember the Boys and Girls Club where I used to play ball back in the day. Every once in a while, we'll have that little overnight party. That's when the mischief began.
That's exactly what's happening here
every
too,
time.
So
3,000 plus attendees came together in Berlin to participate in this class-driven, interactive, challenge-laden, and musical performance-heavy activation, Kyle. This was an activation that is dedicated to a series of workouts that Les Mills has been rolling out that is really inspired by nightclub culture. And they are saying that they're trying to combine community, tech, music, and fitness experts to set the temperature of what the future of wellness needs to look like. Now, I got to ask you.
What's up?
What's your thoughts on that after you hear their full spiel, man?
I'm here for the idea of it. I think on a real level, it makes a lot of sense to gather all of these like-minded individuals that typically have the same type of look and feel and just fever for life, if you will, so to speak. So, Berlin, I've never actually been there, but I see how they give it up. And I'm okay with the German culture from some aspects with like the beers and the biking,
I'm here for this, but more importantly, I just want to set the tone that this is really something that's going to be changing the precedent of how I think two cultures are moving at the same time.
Yeah.
So those big festivals that have been going on overseas in Europe with EDM music specifically, and the EDM DJs like David Guetta and all the rest of these DJs who are doing these run club
Steve
things.
Aoki.
Yeah. And there's
Take me!
Right? So Steve Aoki is going to be throwing out fruits and vegetables at his next joint.
No, you can
starting
still
to
throw
move
the cake.
closer into that space, man.
Folks didn't even know we knew that type of stuff.
Right? But it's something that is coming up, and I see those two cultures turning into something that's going to be a real money-making opportunity. So the giant parties and raves are going to start to be giant fitness parties and raves. Remember where you heard it first.
No, remember to invite off the strength.
Yes.
That is K.R. Jones and a trainer called Tony. If you're throwing a fitness rave, Les Mills, then we need to be there.
We can go wherever you need to party. This is really what we want to put out there.
My passport need to be renewed, but I got one.
Now, as you know, so we ain't going to be in the same boat. You need to get your passport up.
2026 is sooner than you think.
They can get me out there right now. I am up to date. It's like I will be on the road wherever you need me to go. I am on the move by Off the Strength. That's right. Kyle,
ain't no stopping us now.
When you hit the road, sometimes some people don't like to keep their phones with them because the phone is a little bit of a distractor.
Okay.
It takes you out of the elements, especially when you are in something like a nature kind of setting, right?
Yep.
This week, Kyle, I saw that the app All Trails just came out with a new update to pair with your iPhone for their navigational system that is designed to keep your phone in your actual pocket. So the newest update to All Trails is going to be specifically for the Apple Watch, and it is going to be a low-tech preference navigation tool that keeps you enamored in the nature kind of setting. So now as the organic thug himself, I got to imagine that this is going to be news that is not upsetting to you, my friend. It's keeping the phone down, but also helping you get found outside in the wilderness. So what's your thoughts?
I like how you laid that out. I'm here for a camp. I actually have good navigational and directional skills, Tony. My name on X, if you will, is Google Maps.
Nope, I'm not doing that.
I'll let you fill in the blank on that. But in a real sense, I feel like this is what we already had in life with tech injected into it. Like, I have a compass. I legitimately have a compass. I use that as I go out and navigate spaces.
You have never navigated anywhere with your compass.
It's in my car,
you
bro.
are a liar.
You've seen it on my car.
That doesn't mean that's
it's
an
right
actual
there.
Tool that you use.
It's a compass, all right? You're just mad you don't have a compass, sir.
North by Northwest to get to Harlem.
Exactly.
That's what
Southwest is where we're headed after this conversation. I'm not talking about the airlines, but nonetheless, this technology already existed if you had AirPods and an Apple Watch. Like, you could just put Google Maps on and, you know what I mean, it would verbally give you the tactile directions you needed to get to where you need to be. But if there's an app that's specific
for the watch,
for this, for the watch, I'm here to support it. Just the mere fact of people getting outdoors and using their phone less. If you put it in your pocket, you might get like cancer or some shit. Who knows? Like, maybe just keep it in the whip.
Well, I can't tell you about any of the craziness the college just laid out that may or may not happen because I don't know that to be true.
Hey,
but what I can tell you that will happen if you have your phone on you and you're outdoors and you're working out Kyle, sometimes people can pick this information up, and they are not always people who have your best interests in mind. So, Kyle, this week I also learned that Strava is facing a little bit of a problem.
Another one?
Another problem, yes.
Another one.
You will remember that the AI that was making the jokes when the guy
I wasn't even talking about that. I was talking about homie that got caught cheating.
You all also remember that Strava did...
That's a lot on one jacket right there.
Allow a wife to connect the dots and find her husband's cheating partner who is also an avid runner. But now, Kyle, the fitness app is going to have to explain how these world leaders are being able to be located on their fitness apps due to their fitness activity. So a French newspaper has revealed the whereabouts of some very high-profile people, including the president of this United States, the president of China, and a couple of different world dignitaries that use the app that is popularized over here for fitness tracking. You might not want everybody to know 100% of where you are 100% of the time for various reasons. It could be a security issue. It could be some creep issue. This is a problem that's starting to roll out where you collect so much information, you do not know what the other person wants to do with that information once it's collected. So I already know this is going to be a little bit more dubious, but any kind of impressive thoughts that you have about this one?
Impressive thoughts is a stretch. I'm just thinking about don't get got. That's the only information I could give you is don't get got. Because if you can be seen and know where you at, I mean, rule number one, bad bitchism, you know what I'm saying, is you gotta not let people know where you at.
Okay.
If I post a photo, just know that I ain't there no more.
This is a place that you've already vacated.
I've been there. I'm gone. This could be a week ago. You never know where I'm at with it.
All right, man. Well, since people need to have a little bit more understanding of how to navigate in general, whether you're having your own compass or you're having some kind of app do that, Kyle, I want to help in this last story people understand how to navigate the gym. And it's going to be another thing that brings us back to gym etiquette once again. Now, Kyle, I saw this week an article go out from a spin instructor that wanted to teach some basic rules and regulations that people tend to skip over when they're just getting inside of classes. And I wanted to bring this up to you because you are also somebody who teaches in this group fitness space.
Yep.
And I wanted to know if you had any rules that you wish people knew when they're entering in this space. So the article goes on to talk about what you should and shouldn't do when you're just getting into a brand new fitness regimen, specifically group fitness activities in general. So number one, if you are new to this activity, you should arrive to the class early. What's your thoughts on that rule number one?
I wholeheartedly agree to that.
Talk to me about it.
You got to see the lay of the land. You got to fill out whatever paperwork they have for liability. If you're not filling out the liability and your ass get hurt, you're going to find out about the legal system a whole nother way. And so I'm all with getting there early.
Rule number two, you should choose your spot in class carefully.
100%.
Talk to me about that one.
Because there's regulars. You're new here, right? Think about gang territory. You don't want to be in the front on the left because that's where Barbara's set up at. And Barbara don't play by her spot.
And she has been there for 18 weeks in a row.
Barbara on her 500 class. This your first one. You messed up this celebration for her and you and Barbara going to be at it.
Rule number three, don't just do your own thing.
Oh, please don't.
What happens in your class when that happens?
The dynamics of spin class and the vibes that I provide are two
totally different
things.
Spaces.
Just to put that as the first disclaimer. Second disclaimer is you paid to be here. Damn it, you're going to do what I teach. If you're not doing what I'm doing, something's off. And you got to go. I'm going to give you the look. If the look don't get you, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to come over to you. We're going to have a little chit-chat. We're going to have a little powwow. If that don't work, you might just get Jazzy Jeffed.
Speaking of the chit-chat and powwow, the next rule up is cut the chatter and put the phones down. This is not the time for you, if you're brand new, to get your content off. This is not the time for you to answer a call while you're in class, but you'll be surprised if people don't know not to do that.
If you entertain the thought of taking a phone call in my class, you better wake up and apologize.
And finally, you're supposed to remember that fitness classes are supposed to be fun. That did not sound like the fun invitation.
It's a great
coming
experience.
Over there.
Namaste.
But I promise you,
It's a safe space.
He does lead a very fun class, and it's going to be something that's supposed to be, for your overall benefit if you abide by these rules.
On a serious note, like, I do feel there is a set of rules for class, but you have to just follow the room. You know what I mean? Read the room literally, and you can course correct any bad behavior that you're doing.
You'd be surprised, Kyle. There are a lot of people in this day and age, in 2024, almost 2025.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been shut in mentally since we had to shut down.
No, I'm with you.
They don't know how to read the room anymore. This is not a given.
Relearn.
Everybody's not starting at the same spot.
Do better.
So
pay attention to your surroundings.
This is why I got to report on what's happening with the good, the bad, a little bit of ugly.
Yeah, that's ugly.
Every week to give you these headlines, man. What did you see in these fitness streets?
Talk about stress levels, brother.
I told you, it was high.
Jeez. Now, what's interesting is, I don't know, again, if this is good or bad, but a story came across my Black Mirror, if you will, and I want to show you this situation in which people build clay molds of anyone that they want to insert physical violence to. So if you want to slap somebody, you can go and take this clay mold, build out the person that you want to slap, so to speak. Just take your anger out on them. Give them a little, you know what I mean, a little whack.
I think that this is a amazing amount of time to dedicate to something that is shockingly sad.
Like a paint and sip,
yeah,
but like a clay and slap. Yeah.
The mold and slap is a crazy amount of time.
Slap class.
I see a lot of people who never were hugged at different appropriate times in life that look like they're trying to work through that stress in that class.
Would you invest in a moment of clay just to slap it?
No, I would not.
Okay.
Not that much time, because these are real sculptures. They've invested enough time to get the details right on the sculpture, so I couldn't do all of that and then slap that. No.
We're going to slide on, brother. All right. I see where you stand. Now, speaking of, spending your time wisely.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that I often like to do is I watch baking shows, Tony.
Okay.
I don't know if the followers or the listeners know this about me, but I very much am deep into the is it cake bag, because that's my bag.
I don't even understand. Just from the name, I get the premise, but I don't understand how you watch that.
So, bam, this is what we're going to do. We're talking about when the artists and the bakers come together.
Okay.
Right? And you got to take this surreal or real life image, if you will, and turn it into a cake.
Okay.
And you're not only judged on the outside, but on the inside of the taste as well, too. So you got to come with the flavors. Your cake got to be on point, and then you got to make it look real. So it is a very layered situation, no pun intended.
It sounds like this is a very high activity that you get involved in.
I tend to be high when I watch this type of shit, but it's art nonetheless. Now, what I want to bring to your attention is the specialized helmet that was in question if it was cake or not. Now you're seeing it. Is it in fact cake?
That is cake, and that is a very real looking helmet. I gotta say that, okay, I see, but I feel like watching this one clip, I've watched all of the shows.
But people go crazy. Like, I've seen somebody cut into a mop. Now, I wouldn't make a mop as a cake, but somebody did it, and I was like, fam, that's crazy. And then there's even like chocolate that you can get into. It's a dude who from Eastern European somewhere, and he makes chocolate sculptures. Next level.
I'm happy for everybody involved in the cake process.
Yeah.
And I also like the bike tie-in, so I'm not mad at that.
You can have your cake and eat it too.
I do not want either one of those
things. See
what
I did there? Now, speaking of cake, you know what you need after that, Tone?
What's that?
You need some ice cream, damn it. I want to talk about the Killer Bees re-releasing in Nike's latest resurgence, if you will, into a legacy item that they had. How do you feel about the promotion that's coming out with the ice cream truck and the Killer Bees hitting the streets?
You
Tony?
talking about the Wu-Tang Dunks, right?
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to
I'm not mad at it.
See, I edited myself there.
I definitely like this re-release. I'm around for it. I also feel like
who's getting paid? I ain't see the chef. I ain't see Ghostface.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of Wu-Tang members that are around this.
Deck. Rest in peace to ODB. It's at least 7 other brothers I'm missing right now.
Yeah, that's why you don't see all 36 flavors with the 36 chambers. Yeah, I like the presentation. I like all of the different things that I've seen people pushing out. It's a legacy shoe, so I can only have but such a reaction to it. And I feel like some part of this re-release culture is just taken away from that legacy every single time it comes out, bro. These used to be grails. There would be like things that people would put out, and you had to be there to understand what that was.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that are going out and flocking to these shoes would not be able to tell you what protect your neck is.
Would have got robbed back in the day.
They would not be able to tell you.
You wouldn't even have had them.
They would not be able to tell you where to get them, all the rest of that. So it is just a furthering of...
You couldn't even pay for them.
My old madness in sneaker culture.
You can't have this.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist anymore. So I am happy for that. I love the ice cream truck, which is a bit triggering for obvious reasons. But the 36 flavors, if you will, painted, I'm always here for an artistically done promotion.
And I got a shout out to the integration of the New York Knicks into that rollout too, which is, again, I'm here for all the New York isms over here. This should be a Staten Island heavy shoe. I just hope to see it actually touch down with the people who actually do rock with the Wu-Tang Clan, man.
You never know. The Knicks also was a part of Curtis Blow remade basketball. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw that, but I did not click that because I feel like there's certain things that I just don't need in life.
Lola Brooke got a verse off on there. I
saw the names.
It was intense. My homie Soup was in there. Shout out to him. It was one of those things where, like, y'all had a diversity budget and pushed it to the limit. And I love that for y'all. I'm going to just leave it at that.
I don't need to consume everything. You know, I just certain things on the headline, I'll be like, yeah, nah, I'm okay on this.
It's funny how we get here. Now, talking about the need to not consume everything.
See?
Now, Brother Tone, what if I were to tell you there was a new beverage in the South that was taking over the streets that was a cocktail with a salted brim with a piece of cornbread, fried chicken, and bacon
I want to get you help. Remember when I told you that we need to be able to vote on what algorithms have?
Yes.
I would vote down on all of your algorithms.
Whoever's mind this existed in before they even sold it and before the person that ordered this to put it on the internets need to be put in jail.
We need all of this removed immediately. You can't enjoy any one of those different things.
It's a meal in a cup.
I don't want a soggy chicken wing. I don't want a salty, over-salted piece of cornbread, and I don't want a sweet, whatever tart drink that is at the bottom of that. I don't want that on my bacon. None of those things seem like the flavors that you would want.
You got a little breakfast, a little lunch, and dinner, and then a beverage to wash it down with.
You got high blood pressure, and you have cholesterol in one.
You need to know your RDLs, your LDLs, and all that. You need to know these levels.
If you're ordering that, you don't care about life. I'm just putting that out there.
It's a drink. Now, again, this is a beverage that somebody really put on the internet. The caption of this photo says, "Look at this drink my mom ordered." So now I see your mom is wilding. She's making decisions that don't make sense anymore. You need to reel it in.
She's crashed out.
Get her on some vegetables ASAP. 2, you are your mom's child. The apple don't fall that far from the tree, Tone. You filming this, putting it online. There's something wrong with you.
Nah, that's a damn lie. I think the apple do be falling far from the tree. Some of them trees is on hills. The drop off is very far, very steep, very fast away from the OG tree. That's a whole nother conversation.
That was just, the good, bad, and ugly that I saw this week, Tone, and I'm gonna leave it with that. And I'm going to slide out of that. So,
okay, I appreciate that.
Somebody
I need to get as far away from that last part as possible.
I do my best to cover food crimes in a way to get people to realize how foolish this stuff is in real life. It really comes down to a point where, like, do you really want this in your body? Like, for real, pardon the left, but real real life. Is this the decision you want to make? Is this the best decision you can make at this time? The quote of "we can't be the real adults" always resonates in my mind heavily because we adults making decisions like that present day.
No, I don't take claim of any of these people. The herd just has to get thin at this point. I've said enough. I've tried to make it.
You try to vote on getting the herd up out of here.
There's another vote that I want to get on.
Man.
It's like, listen, we got to expedite this time. There's too many of these people that are making those decisions, holding shit up. We got to get you out of here.
I'm going to let the Lord do what he going to do for y'all, and I'm going to say a prayer as we transition into this Raising the Bar segment.
Let's raise it up, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you're now in store to raise your bar. Brother Tone.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk today a little bit about good news versus imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Or good news and the imposter syndrome.
All right, let's hear it.
Or just even the intermingling of both, if you will.
I'm sure you'll make the connection.
Let's see what I can, paint a picture of. Now, the old adage of nothing travels faster than bad news. So don't let bad news beat you home. You know all the sayings. You always hear about the car accident before you see it, all the things. But what about the good news, Tony? Early in the week, I received some really good news, and I'm downplaying it, but it's really life-changing, actually. And when I've shared this news with other people, I got a chance to witness other people being happy for me. I remember when that wasn't necessarily a reality. I don't know if you can relate, but I've been in spaces where I've shared good news and good things about my life and what's happening to me, and people weren't happy about that.
You talking about Baltimore specifically?
I'm just saying, generally speaking, you have to be mindful of the weight of the message that you carry.
Got you.
Right? It could be inspiring to some, to others, it could bring up a different emotion. But being aware of that has been something that I had to take note of or take stock of, if you will. Now, in this moment, present day of seeing other people happy for me, I realized I was surrounded by the right people because I could palpably feel them being happy for me in that moment. I was like, yo, that's crazy. Like, growth. Shout out to me. You know what I'm saying? Now, this realization took me back to the last time I felt a feeling like this, right? And it was around 2016, and I had just landed a job with the Jordan brand, and I was training high school basketball athletes for preseason. Now, just to paint this picture, fam, I'm an athlete my whole life. You knew I grew up playing. I will give anybody a bucket in the next 6 to 8 months.
I was about to say,
yeah,
this is
realistically,
aggressive.
next 6 to 8 months, you can holler at me. Not right now. I'm injured. I'm recovering. But that's legitimately how I feel.
Okay.
So to get an opportunity to work for such a brand, I was in my 20s at the time. This was pivotal to me. This was life-changing. It's like, yo, imagine you played with a toy Ferrari your whole life and you just got a job at the Ferrari factory, not even the dealership. It's like, oh, y'all don't just make them here. Jordan be here from time to time.
Yeah.
So, nonetheless, in that moment, I knew I made it. I'm like, my dreams are coming through. I met Mello, Ace Boogie with the hoodie, was filming a music video. I'm like, fam, we here. This is it. This is next level. I am, in fact, playing in a different league.
Okay.
You picking up what I'm putting down?
Yes, sir.
I told everybody. This opportunity, it was like, as my grandmother would say, it was the money was burning a hole in my pocket. I had to spend it, right? You know what I'm saying? And I got complacent with just being there, right? I thought it was going to last forever. And in that moment, as soon as I was, dreaming on a fantasy, Mello got traded. The gym closed and shut down for good. The cards in the company got shuffled. Everybody who was somebody, they playing a different role now, or they ain't even around no more. And that training opportunity never came around again. And it took me a while, a very long time, longer than I'd really love to admit, to forgive myself for thinking it was my fault. That it was something that I didn't do, or I did too much. Like, damn, I should have did this. I should have did that. Damn, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. And it took a very long time to just be like, yo, this wasn't on me, right? Now, in addition to the forgiveness, I was even more apprehensive with sharing good news because I started to develop signs of imposter syndrome, right? Like I felt undeserving, I felt unworthy, and I flat out felt lame for not having more success than I did from that opportunity. Now, this brings me to present day in this life-changing news that I just had. I wish I could say that the imposter syndrome was fully gone, but it ain't. I also wish that I could have it all mapped out, and in my mind, the further success would be definite, but it ain't true. What's certain and not a wish is that I'm fully committed to getting better at getting better. Right now, learning and immediately applying the lessons in real time is a daily practice. You are allowed to apply the shit that you just learned as early as today. It ain't like a timeline on this, like, oh shit, he just gave me some game today. All right, I'm gonna use it on Monday next week. I'm gonna schedule it in. Like, no, fam, use that right now. Use that so that you can be better incrementally. And that's where those steps come in. And that was this moment and this reflection that I had this week, right? Now, Brother Tone,
Yes, sir.
I am well aware of you and your stoic practices, you know what I'm saying? The rabbit food that you be eating from time to time. If the sun up before you late, like I already know how you give it up right now.
That's on most good days.
I know you be in the mental dojo getting your reps in early.
Yeah.
If you will, on the regular. My question to you would be, what advice could you give somebody throttling the imposter syndrome line and then also not accepting good news in front of them present day off the strength?
Imposter syndrome, trying to deal with how to mitigate some of those symptoms or mitigate how you are feeling in that moment. The best advice I would say is maybe a bit harsh, but nobody outside of you cares as much as you. And I say that to just put it into perspective that the stories that we tell ourselves and the often lies that we build up in our mind are way harsher than what the actual reality is. Talked about before, people in the aspect of falling fear the fall much more than they fear the landing. I think some parts of that imposter syndrome is when you make a breakout event, breakout moment, breakout, intervention in life, and it gets you to a new level. You know what it was like before that. Nobody else in that room knows who you were, what you were doing before you arrived at that point. And the pressure that you feel is often about all of the stuff that you don't want to have to go back to. Now, as somebody who's gone back and reset many different times in life, I think once you have a taste of that fall, once you have been burnt by that fire that fear really is nested in, I think that's where the imposter syndrome comes from. I'm already afraid of a state of life that I probably already live, and I probably already have existed at, and I probably already have some level of familiarity with. Now, I'm kind of inoculated to feeling like I can't survive, I can't go back, I can't, be able to move myself forward in a way that I would see is needed. So you brought up in your answer a little bit about applying lessons in real time. One of the things that I think I've learned in this whole process, specifically for the imposter syndrome, you make it into a room for the first time and you're the first of something, it's going to be difficult to keep up a lot of what I would say society would put on you being the first of in that space. Now, when you do take that fall, the lessons that you apply, shortening the gap between learning the lesson, hearing the lesson, learning the lesson, and applying the lesson, to me is success today. So I want to hear something and I want to apply that immediately because that'll keep you going forward. That'll keep you being able to evolve. That'll keep you from getting in your own mind and getting in your own way. And that's kind of where that imposter syndrome lives. Going into the other aspect and
good news,
going about good news, I will also say that's a bit more difficult depending on how you lived your life. Some people believe in that like kind of superstitionist almost kind of thing. Like if you talk about something too good, you might scare it away somehow, some way. I don't know. We got a lot of old wives' tales and vestiges that are embedded inside of us. Some shit that we honestly just got to unlearn, walk away from. Then there's also the idea of you telling somebody the news too early and it doesn't happen. Now what do you do? Right? So I've seen and I've lived on both sides of that coin where it's kind of like, part of that practice in stoicism is to, again, inoculate yourself to harder times, to be able to be equipped enough to deal with something that is going to go wrong. And being over prepared for something going wrong can also rob you of your joy. And that'll also take you away from appreciating the moments in life that really are the breakthrough moments. You might not even be able to register the fact that this was something that was so good and it was going to change your life because you're worried about a state that you cannot control. So when good news comes your way, rest assured, it's going to be an ebb and flow. There's going to be that time where it feels great. You should relish that moment. You should really take that in and appreciate and absorb it as much as you can, knowing that there will be an eventual valley to even that peak, right? And appreciation of what all of life is that you got to savor the good moments because there's going to be some valleys that you got to go through, right? So my best advice in that space, again, don't be fearful of having something in your hand that is fleeting kind of situation. Don't be fearful of losing whatever good is. Understand that it will go away. Understand that that's also a part of this whole journey and do your best to really just appreciate the moment when you have it.
Man, in my mind, I was trying to think of all of the one-liners I had for you. Nothing lasts forever, you know what I mean? It's good till it's gone and all that jazz. And I'm thinking about equating what you just said to like a good meal, right? Mm-hmm. That good news is a meal that was well prepared. It was amazing. Chef from wherever the fuck came in and used his skill set and filleted and did all of this stuff to this amazing meal that you can only eat once, and once you digest it, it's over, right? You're going to be hungry again. It's not going to satiate you for the entirety of your life. It's only going to be for this moment. And that's how you should receive news. You should appreciate and celebrate with a good meal, with good news when you have it. But know that this isn't something that's going to be forever, right? And I think between that and the gems you dropped on imposter syndrome, man, I would like to think we're raising the bar here for a lot of folks.
I feel like I am.
I feel like I'm putting my heart on the line, and if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, your ears broke. I said that before.
I hope you feel us from
right?
wherever you are to wherever we are right now in this moment.
That part. I feel like we can only then slide into a little relax responsibly, Brother Tone.
Well, talk to me about how you were relaxing this week, brother.
Relaxing responsibly this week came in a myriad of ways.
Okay.
If you will. First is going to be, I got a chance to check out Inside Out 2, or what's the movie called?
No idea.
Damn, I'm drawing a blank right now. The Disney movie about the emotions. I think it is Inside Out 2.
Never saw the first, so don't know the second.
As an avid child movie watcher,
you gotta watch yourself. That's gonna end you up on the list.
Not like that. I'm talking animated. Let's go avid animated movie watcher.
There we go.
Let's
Clean up the sentence.
Just take the age out of the situation, right? Literally, let's just watch animated movies. Pixar be out there, man. They be having films that be pulling on the heartstrings. I don't know if you ever seen Up. Up is one of them ones where, like, man, it had it, or the eyes just kind of watering just a little bit, like you're cutting onions or something,
Okay.
Now, Inside Out 2 is a movie about emotions. Mm-hmm. So the first one, we get introduced to the set of characters. The emotions are the characters like anger and joy, and this one we get introduced to like 4 more characters. One being anxiety, and we're seeing how anxiety manifests. And man, anxiety was out there doing numbers, literally. So being able to watch this animated movie, but then realize how it directly, in fact, impacts adulthood was one of those relaxing moments. Like, all right, I'm not crazy. Anxiety just be out here wilding. Even if you identify with being anxious or not, seeing how it manifests open your eyes to different ways that you didn't know it can manifest. Now, seeing that only happened because I got some new frames, Tony.
Okay.
Now, these new frames came from Eyes on Bed-Stuy, right?
They look pretty stylish.
Homie in the neighborhood held me down, right? An optician, over 20 years of service, blessed your boy with some new tortoise frames. Now, for the listeners out there, I see you brought the tortoise out today, too.
I have a pair, my friend.
We are in the gang of tort.
Notice that only one of us got frames, though. The gang.
Yeah.
It's all here now.
For the listeners out there who can't see us, I have a nice transitional lens that when the sun comes in, a shade might come over my eyes. Now, for Tony here, he has the Dwayne Wayne.
Block out these haters out here.
Flip up glasses. If you are not up on Dwayne Wayne in a different world and the flip up glasses, do better. Brother Tone, tell us how you was relaxing this week.
Well, after I sort out who my glasses supplier needs to be in Bed-Stuy on Bedford Avenue,
okay,
my blood pressure will go back down, Kyle, and I will remember that in my own week, like I alluded to a little bit earlier, I had a chance to check out that We Do This event powered by Fit For Us. And I just got to shout out to everybody that was in the community, man, because, shout out to the homie Purcell. He puts on these different engagements where he brings people together and talks about running. Honestly, quite like nobody else that I see in the industry, really tapping in with why we actually show up and run.
Yeah.
And he did pull out some pretty special guests over there. So I want to shout out the Recess Run Club. I want to shout out the Crate Run Club. And I want to shout out Running Sisters Social Club. And Tamara Green, who was there, who also shouted out the Off the Strength podcast of all places. And she said, oh, I know KR Jones. I said, do you now? We can't be too equated, me and this brother over here. So I don't know what he has done, where he has been.
You stop it right now. There's nothing but love in the community.
But don't put all of his shenanigans onto me. No, it was honestly just an amazing event. I got a chance to connect with some good people and talk about, you know, how their health and wellness missions to expand it out into different communities is really parallel to what we do on these very microphones, man. Friend, and people are listening in the coalition of the willing, my man. So always going to be something that brings me a little bit of relaxation and motivation at the same damn time.
Love that, man. I love that my name is in rooms that I ain't even in, brother.
Somebody did hit me with some left field stuff this week, and it was like, yo, you need to pull up with your better half next time. And I was like, hold up.
Wow.
What we not going to do.
Your better half is crazy.
Ever, never, ever.
Get on my level.
We not going to put me and this gentleman, could be a lot of different things. We are never going to be
better halves
in that space.
See, that's the issue. You don't accept me for me, Tony.
It sounds like couples counseling now.
We need it. All right. I support it. It can't be we without us.
I vehemently reject this. It's the second rejection this week. We are not two peas in that pod at all.
No, not at all.
If we were, we'd be a lot further than where we are right now.
And that is the off. And the off the strength right there. And it sounds like what I picked up from that comment was hope, Tony.
There's some hope out here.
What is it that you are actually hopeful for? Let the people know.
Well, Kyle, before I get to the hope, I did also want to talk about something real quick. This is another quick hit.
Is this today's calisthenics?
It can be. Let's put it into the calisthenics for this week. We are closely approaching the holiday season, Kyle. And as the holiday season is upon us, Black Friday is coming up, Kyle. And Black Friday...
We really need to reterm that.
We need to think through why it's
not Black Friday no more. I don't care about the black. We need a new color.
It doesn't hit the same way that it used to. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, people are going to be pushing all different types of stuff.
If we can get rid of the Redskins,
we can get rid of Black Friday.
We can get rid of Black Friday.
I'm signing up for this petition.
We all band together.
Before we get rid of Black Friday, though, there's going to be somebody that's going to try to sell you some shit on Black Friday, Kyle.
Of course.
So I got a chance to check out GQ's recommendations for the fitness gifts that you need to be checking out on this Black Friday. Now, Kyle.
Problematic already.
I can't tell you that I'm tapping in for all of these, but there are a couple on here that really caught my eye. One being a digital adjustable weight kettlebell, which interesting shape, but it was something that I saw. You go from 15 to 35 pounds in one kettlebell, don't really take up a whole lot of space. How you feel about this power block that you're seeing over here?
It looks like something that you would use to put air in your tire or something. Or
like a compressor?
Give you a little jump for your battery for your car.
Yeah.
It looks interesting. I mean, I don't know if I need that in the crib digitally, but I'm here for the innovation.
I didn't think that I needed it either, but what I am interested in, especially in today's day and age, Kyle, is a foldable treadmill. Now,
okay.
I don't know how you personally feel about the walking while you're working thing, but I would give it a shot.
Facts.
I don't know if I'm coordinated out the gate to have the confidence to be like, I could send an email and walk on this foldable treadmill at the same time.
Yeah.
But I would at least give it a shot. What's your thoughts on this?
I second that. I say we need it, and we need to work off the strength on the walk on the treadmill.
We're going to walk it like we talk it.
I like that. That's the soundtrack right there. Walk it like I talk it.
That's how I got to make it work.
As I'm texting. You see how I did that? Next set.
So now we can get into a little bit more of the hope, Kyle.
Okay.
I hope that we can actually get to play with some of these awesome toys coming up this holiday season. Because people are going to be buying these fitness toys and they need to hear from professionals about why they should or should not have these things. That's one thing that I'm hopeful for.
I'm mad that we never got the damn mirror before it was gone. They should have had me on that shit, Tony.
I'm not going to tell you where they should have had me because I've talked to these people
and
multiple times.
Damn it.
Talked to them multiple times about that. That's in one of the deleted Tony chapters of life that we go back to the imposter syndrome.
Black flag in fit tech.
Hey,
but for anybody else,
just want to let everybody know that I was around on some scenes that when I said that this was not going to work, just realize why I said what I said. People got offended. We move on. I'm also hopeful that one day somebody's just going to hear that constructive criticism, not as the bad thing, but just as a thing that's going to move people forward, because that's genuinely also, I don't know, a reason why I show up to most spaces.
Sometimes you got to be the bad guy.
I definitely know that. It's like I've lived that chapter. Get him out of here. He's not supporting it.
A requiem for dignity.
Right? What are you hopeful for?
Brother Tone, I am hopeful that people can acquiesce to this idea of good news being good. If I go back to the top of the show and talk about that pronoia, like, accept that the universe is working with you. It ain't against you. It ain't woe is me. Why is life so crazy? What I want you to do is take this little manifestation, if you will, right? When you wake up in the morning, before you go and do whatever it is that you do, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say, universe, show me how good you can be.
Wow.
Walk into the day and see what happens. You'd be surprised, and you're not even going to pay attention to it because you so in your phone and your watch and in that tech, but you'd be surprised if somebody pay for your coffee that day or you get free lunch. It's the little things that give you that good news feeling that you just got to collect those moments daily.
I hope that we are able to collect and gather as much goodness as possible because we damn sure need it.
Oh, 100%.
I'm definitely going to cash
2 times
in.
on Sunday.
Whenever it's coming this way, just make
Say
sure
a
that
prayer.
that truck is backing up with the loudest of announcements because I want to be there for it. And I'll make sure that I want to let people know if they do have any kind of good news, any kind of good well wishes, any kind of, tithings that they want to pay, send this way. Kyle, where can they send all of this good stuff?
We're going to pass the plate around to the left one more time.
We're not rejecting any good energy.
Although we like the money that jingles, we prefer the kind that folds.
Right.
Put
or
it
swipes. Either way. It could happen.
If it's a church out there that's taking tap to pay.
Oh, you getting Cash App at church, man. Don't.
It's a dirty world.
Don't get it
here.
twisted.
Oh man, they can find us not in spaces like that, but they can find us on Instagram at @offthestrength_. And if you're in the greatest city in the world, sometimes that is New York City, you can come on down to Rockefeller Center where you could visit us at Newsstand Studios where we record on the block of the rock before the madness of this goddamn Christmas tree.
Oh, it's definitely coming.
Oh, the parking is already gone, man.
City sidewalks. I keep telling you, man.
Yeah, no.
We get right into that bag.
I seen the Christopher McAllister, the brick that he broke the toy store with the other day.
Trying to tell you, man. It's always going to be here. It's always going to be here, man. And shout out to the good brother Brian Perkins for holding us down in association with I Did That Productions. Kyle, do you have anything other than the parting words of keeping yourself hygienic that you want to leave on the good people out here?
Nah, man, just double down on wash your hands, wash your ass, and, when you sneeze, make sure you cover your mouth.
There's also, again, a whole list of next laughable offenses that are going to need to come along with that, but we're going to get into these real tough situations as we start to navigate these streets. Once again, hopefully you have the good information to get on your best foot. It's been another fantastic episode of Off the Strength. I'm a trainer called Tony.
K.R. Jones.
Peace and much love to y'all out there. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Peace.
And good. Brent.
What's good, everybody? I'm a trainer called Tony, and I am here from the infamous Off the Strength podcast, asking you today, listeners, viewers, wherever you may be, to please like, listen, and subscribe to our podcast. This is how we're going to continue to be able to deliver you the best goddamn wellness information out here. So if you want to keep hearing this and you want us to keep growing, you are a part of this show just as much as anything else. So please go to offthestrength.com. Make sure you check out our blogs. Make sure you check us out on IG. And if you're hearing this voice and you didn't hit that subscribe button, know that Kyle is going to come looking for you.
You got that right.